Hi everyone, this is Michelle at michellesizemore.com. Today you'll learn how to make this fall border. The reason I am showing this is to show you an alternate way to make a rustic fence, because I know a lot of you are kind of upset that the rustic fence border maker cartridge sold out so quickly. So what I did is try to come up with another way to get the same look. There are lots of ideas for Croptoberfest that involve using that cartridge. So this is a substitute you can use instead of the rustic fence border maker cartridge. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. First, I'm going to grab some brown cardstock. So this is how I store all of my cardstock scraps. These are Power Project folders. You can put a tab right here. We have pockets here that are like square. This one's a horizontal rectangle. We have pockets on the back that are two vertical pockets for strips and things. And then inside you can put lots and lots of big pieces. I store all of my cardstock and my collections and things in these. And I just put different shades of the same color in each one. So first, I'm going to show you the browns. I've done the same thing with greens, which I'm going to show you how to do something with the green. Okay, let me find a piece that'll work for this. I need a long strip that's kind of at least 3 or 4 inches wide. I don't really have a strip that I like, so I'm going to get this piece right here. Set this aside. So I'm going to grab my border maker system, and what I'm going to use is this Barn and Fence border maker cartridge, but I'm going to chop it up and do something with it to make it look different. Okay, to use this, you open up your paper tray holder and pop it in place, lift your magnetic arm, put your cardstock underneath the arm, line it up with all of the edges on the paper tray, close it, and flip your tray underneath and pop it in place. Then you put your cardstock right here. Your notches match up here, which means everything fits underneath like a puzzle, and you punch. I stand up when I do this because I kind of like to put my weight on it, and you punch firm with the palm of your hand. And then you pull it out, plop it back in place, punch. Pull it out just a little bit, plop it in place, punch, and so on. Okay, now I always look at my scraps to see if there's something I can do with them. I don't really see a whole lot with these, so I'm just going to throw these away. Sometimes I can do a lot with the scraps, but not really this time so much. Okay, now I'm going to grab my 12-inch trimmer, and I'm just going to cut this. Honestly, the bottom part of this is going to be covered up, so it doesn't really matter how wide I cut it, but I do want enough of it to stick down underneath grass that I'm going to make. So basically, when you use this trimmer, you're going to cut on this left-hand side dotted line of your mat, and this flips around so you can get lots of different cuts out of it. When your line starts to fade, you just flip it and you get 4 different lines that you can use, and then when you run out of those, you just buy a new one. Okay, so I'm going to line this up, and I want my blade to come down about right here, so that there's about that much showing at the bottom. Make sure it's lined up at the top and follow the grid mark all the way down. Hold it in place and cut with the straight blade. So that is the look that I wanted. Now I'm going to cut these apart, because now this is super cute like it is, but I just want a picket fence or a rustic fence with no barns in it for this particular border, to show you how you can use this as an alternative to the cartridge that we can't get anymore. I believe that cartridge sold out in one day. It was really, really popular. I think they're going to bring it back, but it'll be a while. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off where all of the fence part shows, but not any of the barn. And I'm going to just do one more and just show you how I did it. And I'm using my micro scissors because they work great on these little intricate things. So I did that, and I did it all the way down. Now I had to punch a couple of these to get enough pieces to go all the way across the bottom. And I've already pre-cut some of those other pieces, but let me go ahead and cut these. It won't take but a second. And I can save those little barns and use them for something else later. I always try to save your scraps because you never know what you can do with them. Okay, set all that aside. Now, I'm going to grab a piece of white paper because I actually mounted this on this really pretty paper from the Golden Harvest collection. It's got like a subtle, like little texture to it that's tonal. But I ran out of this. It's the other side of it's denim, so it's really popular. So I'm just going to show you on a piece of white how I put this together. So really what all you do is you're going, I want to have enough room for grass on the bottom. So I'm going to mount this down to the white and just piece it together. Like overlap it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my repositionable tape runner on the back of a few of these. Just generously put it on there, on the backs. Actually, when you're using cardstock, it doesn't matter what's back and what's front, because it's the same on both sides. Okay, so I've got my tape runner on there. I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm just going to mount this down and piece it together. Well, let's look at this to see how high up I went with it. Yeah, about right there. So I'm going to mount my fence down first, and then later I'll go back and add my grass. Okay, sorry, I misplaced my little pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to piece this together. I'm not going to do it all the way down, just enough to show you. And y'all, this is a rustic fence, so it doesn't have to be perfect. The idea is for it to not look perfect. And remember, the bottom will be covered up. I've already put my tape runner on the back. I'm just piecing it together so that it doesn't look like I've pieced it together, and so on. And I would go all the way down, all the way here, until I got it the way I like it. And then I'm going to grab a piece of green from the back of here and grab my trimmer. And I want to use the decal blade on top because it kind of gives it a little rough edge, which looks sort of like, kind of like grass to me in this particular border. You take your, I did that a little too fast. Okay, so I'm going to take my blade out, going to put my new blade in, curvy side down, close it. That's how easy it is to switch out the blade. Open your arm. Now, I didn't measure this, but let's see about how big I want this to be. I'm going to just put a little pencil mark there. Wait, let's go this way. Sorry about that. Got too much going on here. That's about how wide I want it to be. So I put a little pencil line. It's probably hard to see, but it's right there. And that's just going to show me where to cut with my trimmer. I'm going to line that pencil line up with the left-hand side dotted line on my mat, because that is where the blade comes down. Okay, it's lined up there. Make sure it's lined up all the way at the top, and it follows the grid line all the way down so that it's straight, and it does. And I just cut. So now I have my piece that's got a little rough edge to it, so it gives a little more of a grass look than it would if it was just a plain straight edge. And then all I would do is put my tape runner on the back, and I always use my repositionable tape runner when I'm crafting. I love it. And then I would mount that on top. So pretend there's a fence all the way down. I'm not going to do that just to save time, but I want the fence to peek out past the grass. So I would mount the grass over it like that until it looks like this. And then I just add my stickers and die cuts as I wish. And these are from the Golden Harvest collection, which is just a beautiful collection, but it has this die cut, which is like a round piece of wood. I put it on there flat. Then I put this pine cone die cut, and I put a little tiny foam square underneath it to make it raise a little bit. And then I put a foam square underneath my sticker. This is one sticker, and put it on top. that makes it pop and look kind of 3D like. You could put, I actually kind of want to put another one. So take it off and peel the back off of it. Let's put one more under there. Yeah, so that makes it kind of pop and look 3D. So that is how you can make a rustic fence when you don't have the Rustic Fence border maker cartridge. And just another idea I thought about, you could just cut skinny strips of brown paper with your 12-inch trimmer and do 2 horizontal ones and then little vertical ones, and then just sort of snip the tops to make it look like that. That's another way, but this way was easier to me. And one more tip, there is a piece of paper in this Golden Harvest collection that looks like wood. You could make your fence out of that and it would make it even look more like real wood. All right, thanks for watching my video and have a wonderful day.